Hello everyone, my name is Vishesh Agarwal and today we are doing the second episode of the Krea Prelude and we'll be joined by Professor Tanmoy and we'll be discussing chess today. Do drop in your questions in the question section. Hello Professor, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Vishesh. Good afternoon.
How are you doing Professor?
Fine, fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Professor. Before we start this, I'll give a brief introduction of Professor. Professor Tanmoy is an experimental physicist who is an IIT Bombay alumni and has done his postdoc from TFR Mumbai, and he went on to do another postdoc from the very esteemed institution of Weizmann Institute of Science, Israel, and IFW Dresden, Germany. Among his many accomplishments are his international postdoctoral grant Mobilitas Plus as a principal investigator at NICPB, Tallinn, Estonia. Apart from being a researcher, he was always involved in various public scientific outreach activities at a popular level. Apart from being an academician, he is a decent player at chess and table tennis and has a lot of passion for traveling, philosophy, Bengali literature, and Rabindra Sangeet. Amongst many of our shared interests, we have gathered here to discuss chess today. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Thanks, Vishesh. Actually, I don't know. I just an enthusiast of chess. I don't know. I'm really a bit overwhelmed to be in this platform and don't know exactly whether I have that eligibility to talk about chess or not. So, yeah.
Well, you
thank
have
you.
an 1800 plus rating, so I mean, you are more than well to speak about chess. You might have studied chess in detail. We'll get to that. I mean, we had a conversation. You might not remember, but while I was doing a design thinking project, and where we discussed a lot about sports. And before getting into your passion, I want to know how did you came about the sport of chess, and how has sports like chess helped you in your life, and your you have done so many postdoctorates and you have studied for so long, how has it helped you?
Okay, so chess came in my life from my father. So he was actually he used to his job was in rail. He was a railway employee, and he was bringing many trophies in home, and it was like they were all amateur tournaments. They're not professional tournaments, but many times he was actually good in many other sports, but chess was his passion. So when I was at I think 4 or 5 years of age, he introduced how to arrange the pieces. And at childhood, everyone is loving animals like horse, elephant. Everyone is a bit fond of. A kid is fond of those things. So I was thinking, okay, this is a game when animals can play. Horse, elephant, and many things are there. So it was started with that. Then I learned how they move. So it basically started from them. But when I was in second standard, like 6 years of age, I knew the basics, how they move, how to play. As a beginner level of things, I can do at that time. So what he used to do, whenever his friends come, he introduced me to playing with them. So they are all aged like 40 plus, 30 plus people. I used to play, and initially I was getting defeated, but so with say 2 3 years, after 2 3 years, then initially when I played with my dad, he never showed any mercy to me. He always crushed me and used all his tricks. When while defeating, I learned, okay, this I can do, this I can do. So gradually I started doing those to his guests who used to come, and he introduced me to play. So about fifth, sixth standard, like when I was 9 10 years of age, I can beat those the guests actually. And when I was in say 10th or 11th standard, then I at least learned all the things which my father wanted to teach me. So at that point, we are more or less equal. And then I went in IIT Bombay. So then one day, one senior player was actually, he was one batch senior. I still remember his name. His name was Jitendra Mishra. He actually was looking for to make a team for our department. There was a tournament will be going on, the intra-IIT tournament within IIT. So I went to, so he asked some players. I went to his room, and he defeated me all the 5 matches. So and then he selected me. So I was a bit perplexed. What's going on? Then he told, okay, you have some technical lackings, but you are a good player. Then I realized that, okay, this is another level of teacher. whatever I learned from my father is done. I have to start again from zero. So then, like, he taught me some extra things, and then we competed in the tournament. I did fairly good. I drawn one match and won one. Then every years we used to play, and that next year we won third place. And actually, eventually, once our best performance was we were runner up twice in IIT Bombay. So then, like, I started like looking into the openings, tactical moves, discovery attacks, particular gambits, how to formation of the pawn structure. These things came stage by stage, and what helped me is like, say, suppose in the research life, research life is very like, it's a long procedure. You keep on going and attempting, and eventually failure is more often than the success. So just to switch off those things, and you want to concentrate for a long time, and also doing multitasking, so many things at a time, this is the best thing, because in a chess you have to be aware of all sorts of possibilities. So I mean, I cannot say how many possibilities possible. Even the best chess engines can compete between each other, but no one can say that this game is saturated yet.
Yeah, I mean, there are like infinite number of moves and infinite
Yes.
number of like uh positions that can be created by chess. So I mean, chess is a pretty interesting game. So I mean, it has been quite a stress buster for you. Like,
Yes, of course. Like, actually, in later the parts, like initially when we used to play, we play classical games like 15 minutes games, 20 minutes games. Later parts, we are more interested in the blitz games, like 5 minutes game, like the tournament blitz
yeah,
game. So that is a fun part, because there is actually, you build a lead and then put pressure on the opponent. And even though you can beat a better, higher rated player in time, so time is another factor added, and it actually, like, at the end game, even the good players make stupid mistakes. So it actually, like, brings our brain capacity at an age to see what kind of, and that reflects personality. What kind of errors you do tells lots about you. So that's the fun part.
well, it makes you calm like in the hectic days of research. So I mean, like physicists have been historically known to play chess, like Einstein, Feynman. So, like, do you think if
Yeah.
there is a relationship between chess and physics, and like, does being a physicist make you look at chess a little differently, or vice versa?
Actually, more than a physicist, I'll say mathematicians also, because chess is actually not a single ounce of it is, I can say, it's not built without logic. Everything is logical here. So in a football, one can win with a one goal or lose a one goal, and in cricket you can be bowled out with an extremely bad delivery. But it's not possible. Like, you can only win with a fluke if your opponent is making bad mistakes. Otherwise, if it is in a, like, what is supposed to be happen, if it happens in that line, then there is no room for any kind of a fluke or by chance. What is supposed to be happen will happen. So it's like a build up. So in that way, physics is also like that. Like, we are trying to use mathematics as a tool to explain the nature. That's what physicists do. Whatever theoreticians do is like building the theory first, and what we are doing is exploring what is happening, like, in experiment, and then verifying the theory or building a theory. But whichever way you look, all the modus operandi are actually including a logical background. Without logic, nothing is actually happening here. Although there are a lot of artistry, a lot of philosophical aspects of chess, but everything is logical. So in that respect, chess, physics, mathematics, all are actually in the same line. But in fact, in a particular set, I'll say we don't know how many solutions, how many parameters are present in chess. We don't know that, because we know, like, these are the pieces we know, but how many combinations can actually exist, that we don't know. So that's a very open-ended problem.
Yeah. Well, you play chess a lot. I mean, I saw your chess.com ID, and you have quite a great accuracy of 90%. So, uh, like, you are a really good player. So, you usually play the Sicilian defense with black, and you play the Vienna with the white. Usually, these openings are
Yes,
quite
yes.
considered defensive, solid kind of openings. Like, do they have any special
Uh,
significance? Or
no. I want to have a comment. So Sicilian is not actually can be like called as a defensive. Sicilian is a balanced opening. It has lots of options of attack as well. But Vienna Gambit is an aggressive opening. So you will sacrifice a pawn initially if someone accepts that gambit. Why I actually switched on, because previously I was used to play King's Gambit more often. So King's Gambit is actually a bit risky against very high rated players because they know how to defend the gambits or the possibility of another gambit of Muzio Gambit. But if you move into Vienna Gambit, you at least make sure your castle, your king is in the safe position. You are actually losing a pawn, but your rook file is open. So it's sort of like semi-defensive, but more on the attacking side. But Sicilian is you are playing with black, but even though actually I didn't start, I didn't used to play in Sicilian long ago. I started playing like 1.5 years only. The reason is every time black plays like with a good player, I didn't like the idea of only defending. Black can also attack and dominate the game. So if you want to do, let's make a new line of attack where the white is not approaching you. So Sicilian gives you that room. You are bringing a separate build up on your own way. So it's a balanced game. And
Yeah.
in terms of accuracy, I'll say, I mean, it's not a great accuracy actually. If you like, this is the build up of the chess press is, it's like an Eiffel Tower. So there is a hell lot of difference between a 1800 rated player and a 2000 rated player. So probably if I play, so one of my friends is in there, I sometimes play with him. So he's about 2100. So I actually roughly win 1 or 2 in out of 10 games. So there's a huge difference between each. Like as you go moving in the ladder further, moving upward is getting even more difficult.
Do you get the time to like follow chess as a sport, like the candidates or the World Cup?
Actually, sometimes I follow like after the game is played, but in live I don't follow. Actually, live sometimes you know the basics, but like what they are doing. But even like the difference happens between the grandmasters with us is that they can foresee more moves than us. So right now, as an example, I can foresee 6 moves actually. On an average, I can foresee 6, 7 moves. A grandmaster can easily foresee 25, 30 moves, and in any stage of his or her game. So that kind of difference, why they are actually doing so, even if you watch live, you won't get that. So you have to work on the game later with like a lot of time. Then you'll realize, okay, this is done due to this reason and so and so. Otherwise, like there's a gap in that capacity of forcing moves. So like actually I want to tell a story on this note that, the first grandmaster of India was Dibyendu Barua. So at that time, it was in the 70s, I think, probably 70s or 80s. There was a famous grandmaster of Russia. His name was Victor Koroshnoi. So Dibyendu Barua actually made a buzz at that time by beating Victor Koroshnoi at that time. So he was the first, and after that, Viswanathan Anand was the grandmaster. So Dibyendu Barua didn't reach up to that like top 10. He couldn't break that barrier, but he was in the top 20 at one stage. His best rank was 18. So one game, Dibyendu Barua was winning, but from that winning position, he lost it, and Anand was watching that game. So he watched that game, and they met after 6-7 months at some place, and then Anand actually put the board, explained, put the pieces exactly on that same condition from where Dibyendu Barua lost from that winning position, and explained like if you could have done on these different things, you could have won. So after so many months, putting everything in that way and explaining that you have done this, instead of that, if you have done so and so, you would have won it. So this was like their level, and it's not only Anand can do that. All sorts of grandmasters who are like say 2700 plus or in that level, everybody can do so.
Yeah, I mean, we still see the Kasparov Karpov games of 78, 79 being repeated and like discussed. So, yeah, I mean, Anand has like inspired an entire generation of chess players. We have so many grandmasters. Like, it's like now every month
Yeah.
new grandmaster comes into the
Yes.
spotlight. And like, how do you see India's chance in the 44th Chess Olympiad that is happening right now in Mahabalipuram?
Yeah, of course, it's like because Anand actually changed a whole generation, and it's very apt that it's happening at this place because this region of India is a very much very much populated of good quality chess players. I know there is a village, I don't know the name, there where all the players are chess players. So somewhere in this close to this region, I don't remember that name. So actually, after Anand came, like many other people came. Like in fact, in the women's Koneruhampi came, and in the males, like nowadays there are so many good players.
Yeah.
So like this whole ideology of chess, like earlier it was like sort of limited within Russia, and Fischer broke that sort of like dominance of Soviet Union that time by bringing the rest of the world in the picture. Then like Anand was the face where all the other players they came like in a big number, and it is important. Like I know, I actually know one thing. Why one time somebody asked one Russian grandmaster that Soviet Union, like why your country is much better at that time, like the compared to others. So he replied that in the pubs, in the normal clubs, and in normal say get together, like say bar stands, when people actually meet in numbers, they just put a chessboard. So that culture actually helps to develop this game too, and it becomes very popular in all. So here also, like if this Olympiad happens, I mean it's going on right now. In the more activity happens, obviously like common people and amateurish level players also join, and they love the game, and their presence is actually more necessary to advertise or make the game reach everyone.
Yeah, I mean, considering I was actually inspired when I heard about Harika Drunavali, the like women grandmaster who is pregnant right now and is playing the chess Olympiad right now, and like she did not want to miss this opportunity. And I mean, it feels great, like how. And living in Kolkata, I have been to the Krea chess, the flyover where the chess is played, like below, and it's fascinating scenes. Like if you go in the evening at around 5 to 6 p.m., you will
Yeah.
see so many people waiting to play chess, keenly watching matches, and it's like an environment like no other, because there is so much hassle bustle of the city going all around the place, but you see the players just concentrating, and it's just a different environment over there.
The good thing is actually if one is deep in the game, they will not hear this all the like honkings and other things are going on. So this game is actually like this is an actually I actually refer it to an act. This is such an act, like whenever two players are deeply involved, out of the world, they are out of the world, so nothing will touch them. So obviously this is and Gadiahat actually like even like say in the 90s time, it was even more crowded. Just they did just put a small table or stool and playing on that one. So this is like like most of the activities should be like that, so then only it will be popular. So yeah. Yeah, and the grandmaster you referred, I mean, that's a great achievement. Actually, there's one more little kid, one little girl from, I think she's from Hungary. She is actually quite good, and at the age of 8 or 9, she beat many old grandmasters. So many people are actually thinking that she might be go to the like the steps of Judith Polgar, but that may be too much. But so far, she
Yeah.
is a sensation right now.
Well, the Polgar sisters have like set the standards too high for women's chess, for the men's category. But I mean, as a physicist and a chess watcher, I mean, how do you think AI has made the game more interesting? And like, how do you think like what more developments would be coming in this space technology wise?
Yeah, so technology wise, like say, in at the time of early 2000s, best players used to beat the supercomputers, like Kasparov beat the blue chip computer. But nowadays it is impossible because systems have got better than human minds in that respect. They had all the histories. But that doesn't mean that actually there are not, like even the two chase engines can beat one another. Like I mean to say, like it's not saturated. So obviously this, if suppose two best supercomputers play against each other, new combinations will arrive. Like say this Carlsen started this opening on the rook spawn opening. That is a very unconventional opening. Nobody plays that one. And actually before that nobody played, and he actually showed everyone that that is also an equally probably more efficient than many other openings, but nobody explored that. And even like supercomputers won't explode because nobody had gone into the territory before. So in those respects, obviously, like suppose one grandmasters or any player watch two supercomputers game. Maybe nowadays we can't, no one can beat the supercomputers, but many facets will come from their game. So in that way, the technology will bring many new aspects. But don't worry, like the game will not be saturated very soon. That is not going to happen.
Yeah, it has made the game more interesting, like new openings, like, and when people commentate, they can get an idea. Like during the World Championship match between Carlsen and Nepomniachtchi, Carlsen was almost lost in the position, and I mean even the AI gave up, but like Carlsen found a way, and that makes Carlsen a favorite player. I mean, he can just grab
Yeah.
win out of it.
Actually, Carlsen's main
I
strength
mean,
is actually the pawn structure. So his pawn structure is really good, and that's why he can make the unconventional openings effective, which actually like otherwise considered from the system generated reviews that this is not recommended. So that's his strength.
yeah. Also, like you were stating earlier, like towards the later half, you started playing more of the blitz games instead of the classical games. And usually, like these grandmasters play classical games, and they don't like to play these blitz and the rapids and the bullets. And after Queen's Gambit, a lot of viewership came to chess. But now, because sports like racing and football have a short duration of 2 hours, whereas a normal chess match or normal coverage of a chess match ranges from 6 to 8 hours. So that now the viewership has again started falling. So, do you think like how can they compete with other sports?
Okay, so like all like nowadays, there's the life is very fast. So all the games actually like coming into that shorter formats, and in terms of numbers, shorter formats will be popular. No one can do anything because it's not possible for even like a chess lover who is not a by profession a chess player. Suppose I'm doing a job, I have some time. It's not possible to invest that much time. So it's obviously I would watch, but I'd watch the highlights but and the lines of thinking. But if suppose I'm in another profession, it is very handy and and equally entertaining to have an option in blitz. And blitz actually help you to like the many deductions you can do with quick time. So in blitz practice, you will basically the calculations or the strategic planning will be done by default because your brain will start quick thinking. Of course, you will make errors. Suppose if I suddenly play 15 minutes format, initially I'll make few errors, but after playing few games, this will be okay. Obviously, it is better to play in the longest format because longest format you are actually like marginalizing all the errors possibilities and thinking to the deep end and then giving. But at the same time, in terms of match practice, different match situations, in a 1 hour you can play 5 blitz games. In a classical game, you probably can play one game in a 1 day, whole day, or maximum 2 games. So in that way, I mean, it has an appeal in both the ways. It has both pros and cons. But I'll say like it's in terms of T20, T20 will be there. Test cricket will also be there. So similarly, classical games will be there. Bullet is not a good format to play. I'll not recommend that bullet is a good format. But blitz and rapid games, in fact, rapid games are actually a good starting point for anyone.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I play a lot of bullet games, and that has hampered my rating a lot. But uh,
Yeah, yeah.
that is very sad. I'll not get into that. Uh, I mean, do you think that there would be a resurgence to the level that Karpov and Kasparov level of resurgence, where the chess game was streamed on TV and everyone was keenly watching, and now it's just a game that is streamed online on YouTube, and like there is no major sponsorship associated with it. So do you think like a resurgence of that level would ever be possible, or is that is like history?
Yes, it will be possible because nowadays, like due to this easy availability of the games to see them live or the things how it's going on. Earlier, like I remember when I was in school, I used to watch this Anand versus Kasparov match, how the moves happened, and next day, newspaper it was published. I used to play in those. So the easy availability obviously will make it will reach to more people, and at that time I think sponsor is also required, because to make anything more popular, sponsor is required. But the beauty of this game is actually you don't need too much money to play it. You just like work on your thinking process, because suppose other games you need rackets, boots, skits. You just need players, and maybe like you all the like up to certain level of opening study and everything is available in the internet. So up to a certain point you don't need any resources. After a certain point, when you know all the basics, like openings, middle games, end games, and the tactical moves, discovery attacks, you know those all this stuff, then maybe the special training. Suppose you want to master one opening, then you need to play. So you need basically more practices and some special trainings. But otherwise, in like sponsor is needed to organize more events and to make popular, to reach to more people. That's why it is required. But in terms of like accessories, there is no accessories for this particular game. So it's like the money has to be, or the sponsor needs to reach to more people. In that direction it should be done, in my opinion, actually.
Yeah, well, the trainers are too costly, so it is very difficult to organize such events. But I mean, chess is said to have a lot of life lessons incorporated into it. So from not from not treating your opponent any less to allowing yourself to lose pieces wisely, like what is your favorite lesson from chess?
So you have to accept defeats and failures in life, and in a very positive note, because actually, if you see there, I lost more than I won. So obviously, like in fact, like in the if I want to learn and improve, the first thing is I have to lose and accept that defeat. The first lesson is, if one cannot accept that I have a shortcomings, that person cannot improve. So in life also, all the failures, all the defeats will teach you something. Success is then when you know that your method works, but how to work, how your method will work, for that defeat is necessary. And losing pieces is actually like, say, once you make a mistake, you know that this method doesn't work. So it will actually in life also, like in dealing a situation or solving a problem in any front. So you know that this situation doesn't work. You have faced it before. So it's same. It's actually very much analogy. And another part is like the management, because at the end game, very often I felt, if I had one more pawn, I like that was a very feeling I actually got it most often, that if I had one more pawn, whether it is a draw or a defeat or a winning is okay. So in life also, one shouldn't get into a situation that if I would have done this before. So it's very important to manage the time we have, because chess teaches you how to use your resources and time.
Yeah, that's that's really great. Now, like getting into lighter-hearted questions because we have had a quite a serious session. So do you have a favorite piece in chess?
Yes, knight is my favorite piece, because it can do stuff which even the queen cannot do. Although in terms of power, queen is the most powerful, but knight can jump, and actually knight checks cannot be blocked. So knight is my favorite piece.
It can alone checkmate the queen. So
Yeah, yeah.
sorry, the king. Sorry. Uh, who's your favorite chess player of all time?
Actually, like in a way, I mean, undoubtedly Kasparov is the best one. There's no question about it. But I have like a special feeling for one particular player in terms of the games I watched, Mikhail Tal. So the kinds of gambits he played, I really a fan of him.
And anyone from this generation?
These generations, actually, like I didn't watch like that many games to comment like this particular player is my favorite. I watched a few, but okay, I mean, I cannot make a comment on a few games in that way.
Yeah. And your favorite chess match of all time?
Okay, so chess match of all time, there are two matches I'll tell. One is the championship where Fischer beat Spassky. That was in the Cold War era, and there was a dominance of Soviet Union, and it was broken the breach by that victory. That was one of the defining moment in chess history. That is one, and another one is one particular gambit Mikhail Tal played in one tournament. After that game, all the viewers actually threw coins over the game because he actually checkmated in 4 or 5 different routes, and it's not like he was already winning, but the beauty of that game, I mean, it was awesome. So just watch. I think it was a some gold coin gambit or something. It is called. You'll find it in YouTube. It was a very popular one, and that's like, I mean, so many different ways one is checkmating at simultaneously. That was the beauty of that victory. So these two particular games I want to mention.
Yeah. Well, the
And
Spassky
one
Fisher game.
and one more game. Sorry to interrupt you. And one more game I want to tell. In 1996, that World Championship of Anand and Kasparov, the first 8 games were draw. Ninth game, Anand won and took a lead over Kasparov. So that was also a very, very special game.
Yeah, the
Although he lost
Spassky.
in the he lost in the overall 20 match thing, but that ninth game he took a lead. So I was very ecstatic when I saw, okay, Anand won. I mean, what happened? And then followed the game. So he actually, like, it's not that Kasparov made any mistake. It was the improvisation of Anand which caused the victory.
Well, the Spassky Fisher game is one of the most legendary games. Like how Fisher was forced to play that game, and how many like security officials were present, and how many players were helping the Russian Grandmaster through like defeating Fisher, and the myth of Fisher, and that game in itself is a like story, a movie.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
beautiful.
true. True. Actually, Fischer once beat Spassky when he was a kid. So there was an like a exhibition tournament, and Spassky visited there. And so Fischer was, I think he was an early teenager at that time, and he sacrificed Queen, and after 37 moves he won. So that was the first time, and he actually studied the Spassky game for many years. So ultimately, like, Fischer was unique in many tactical moves. He has a very, like, not any particular context of game, like say mid game, end game, or any pieces, he has any weak point. So Fischer, I was very curious to know if Fischer plays against Kasparov, what would happen, but they never played against each other.
So, what is your favorite memory of playing chess, like yourself? I mean, we have discussed a lot of memories that, like you have seen
Okay.
while seeing chess, and yeah.
Okay, so one memory I'll tell, but that was actually I lost that game. So we went in the final when I was in PhD fourth year or something, in the department in the IIT to Bombay. We played in the final of the that, and then the final, the game was balanced, and at one time, quite reluctantly, I lost one pawn. It was not like, actually I was actually like, not noticed it. I thought, okay, I'm playing aggressively in an open-ended game. I'll checkmate before it, and it won't matter to me. But at the end game, at the end he defended so well. My ploys didn't work, and ultimately that one reluctant loss of pawn cost me the whole game. So that I learned a lesson on that day. Nothing, don't take any particular piece or anything taken as granted. So so that still hurts me, but that was a memory. If I want to like mention one particular impactful memory, that was one I want to say.
Interesting. Uh, yeah. So we don't have any more questions, and thank you, Professor, for joining us. It was great, and yeah, looking forward to Chess Olympiad happening today. For the viewers, today India 1 will be playing India 3 in the men's division, so that is a game that is to look out for. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Vishesh.
Professor. Thank you.
Thanks.
It was great.